Whenever you are ready, Velixis, what would you like to do? You've got three of these large figures, kind of 1-2, just beyond Lu Jianbao. You've got another one who's just beyond Brennick and Johan, and then there are two more figures who are on the west side of this dock, of this boat. One of them has grown larger, and one figure who is behind you, and he is kind of striking at you from behind.
Okay, so to the creature behind me, this one, I'm gonna turn and cast Toll the Dead on it.
It is not currently wounded, so you can roll the d8. And I have a feeling it is going to be unaffected. I think your DC is 14 right now.
Uh,
If you cast Toll the Dead, it'll show me.
okay, give me a second.
What's your int modifier?
I'm sorry, what's my what modifier?
Sorry, intelligence.
I think you're at a +3 right now.
Yeah, so that would make it a 14. Because
My
mine's a 15 and up.
my intelligence says plus. Oh, you talking about the one at the top? I'm sorry. Yeah, that's if you're talking about the one at the top, it says +3.
Yep. So when you go to Toll the Dead, it doesn't seem to have any effect on this creature.
Okay, so no effect.
Do you have any interest in any other movement?
Um, no.
Gotcha. So that will take us to Trey.
Okay. I know I was on the top of the deck, but I take it I'm still on the top of the deck, just for
Yeah,
reference.
you basically have like 10 feet to the ladder,
Mhm.
15 feet to be just south of Velixis.
Okay, all right. So I would like to just, look on down and say, Valixis, I'm coming down, and I'm going to just jump and skip the ladder. And I'm going to use with my bonus action. Where is it? Giant's Might. So if I'm large, or if you are smaller than large, you become large. Along with anything I'm wearing, advantage on strength checks and saving throws, um, and I get to add a d6 damage die to a target I hit. And do I need to take falling damage?
If you are jumping, you are indeed going to take falling damage.
Or
You're going to take 5 bludgeoning.
completely fine. And that'll pull from my temporary first.
Indeed.
Okay. Then I'm going to go ahead and cast Bless on Felixis, Jimbao, and then Johan right behind me and say, all right, let's do this. And just get ready.
Quick question for you.
What do you think?
As uh, in the first round, uh, I attacked and I think I hit with my with one of the unarmed strikes. So technically, agile parry is supposed to add +2 to my AC until the start of my next turn. Is that accounted for the sheet or?
I don't think D&D Beyond has any way of calculating that.
Okay.
Yeah, like when I cast Mage Armor, I have to, if I want to have it reflected in there, I have to manually change it and like make a note to myself. It doesn't automatically pick it up. I would assume it's probably the same for something like that.
So, and you're talking about editing the character sheet on the Roll20.
No, in D&D Beyond, like if you click on where it says armor class, it gives you an option to like customize it. I don't know if it's worth it for something that only lasts one turn, but
Yeah, I would just keep a count of, have you done it? Yes. If you want to do anything to keep track of that, click on your miniature. There is a little circle that kind of looks like it's meant to be, I think, like a glass bead, kind of right below your miniature. And there are different things on that that have symbols. I would click one of those that looks a little bit more positive, kind of third row from the right. I think it's like 4 down. There's a little shield with lightning bolts on it. I would select that, but you have to toggle that every single turn. Otherwise, just remember that your AC is too higher.
Isn't that going to be on your rolls and not mine?
What's that?
I said, isn't that going to be during your rolls and not mine?
It's your AC. I agree on that.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm going to roll to hit you. If I tell you that it hits, you might have to remind me that your AC is higher. But in general, no, I can look at your shit and see you're a 16. If you've hit somebody, I'm aiming for an 18.
Okay, I'll remind you.
So I've got one of these creatures is going to run up, and as it charges out, it is going to swing for Brennick, and it should hit you there, and it is going to do. Oh wait, you have shield, right? So that's hitting with
I've
a.
sorry, go ahead.
Do you have the spell shield?
I do, and I guess I would cast it, which if a
It's
21 will
23.
miss. Nope, it would hit anyway.
Gotcha. So he is going to strike out and hit you with 13 bludgeoning damage.
Sorry, I forgot I have push to talk. Can I use my reaction?
What are you hoping to do?
I was hoping to use Cloud Rune. When you're a creature you can see within 30 feet of you is hit by an attack, you can use your reaction to choose a different creature other than the attacker within 30 feet of you to become the target of the attack instead of using the same roll.
All right. Who's the target?
That the Duergar south of Brannock.
Sorry,
You
I
can't
forgot
ping
to.
the map. You have to tell me stuff.
Sorry, my apologies. Did not hit push to talk. This guy right here.
This guy doesn't help. Tell me which guy.
The
North, south, west.
Then I would guess it would be west.
Of Brennick. And north of him?
I'm sorry. I'm trying to
The
find.
guy who is west of Brennick is attacking him. So it's anybody but him.
Okay, so then I guess it would be this gentleman right here. That would be north of Brennick, I guess. I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure
That
out.
it's south of Brennick.
Then-
North is up, south is down, east is to the right, west is to the west, to the left.
Okay. So then the one that is south of Brennick.
And it's going to go to Johan.
Johan is going to cast Sleet Storm, and if he's going to cast it up to the bow of the hold, so that the 40-foot radius is essentially along the line of this attacking line. So the Duergar who's south of Brannock is free of it, but I think the radius, hard to draw a perfect circle in that. Yeah, I'm sorry if I'm screwing up the map with these circles.
You have access to the ice knife. Just drop that where you want to center it.
Okay, stand by. Can you see that?
Oh, yeah.
And it's a 40-foot. Yeah, perfect. And then with his bonus action, he's going to attack with the spiritual weapon. He's going to attack this guy to his southwest.
Big ol' miss from the spiritual weapon. And it's going to go to Brennick.
All right, so Brennick, I think he felt like the one behind him tap him on the shoulder, but he's gonna kind of like turn real quick and kind of get a surprised look on his face, but then turn back and he's going to kind of hold out his arms, his hands, kind of fingers splayed at the two Duergar in front of him, i.e., to his left, and cast Burning Hands. I'll actually move a little bit closer to get both of them. And he's going to cast it at second level. I'm going to use my portent to give one of them the one to my, I guess maybe the one north of him, an 11 on his roll. And it's DC 15.
The other will pass. The one with the portent will die.
Okay, so he does take half damage for that one. And that's Brannock's turn.
The one north of Jimbao and Felixis is going to crash down with his axe into Lu Jimbao. Big ol' miss. The one behind Felixis is going to move up and attack into Trey. First and second attacks will miss from him, and it's gonna go to gonna maintain his footing, and he is going to I think force an intelligence saving throw from Johan, please.
You have bless.
So that comes out to a 10, I guess. Oh, wait.
No, you
No.
have to roll for it,
Yep,
but
yep,
that's
yep.
not going to be enough regardless. I'm going to have you. What are your cantrips?
Light, spare the dying, thaumaturgy, and word of radiance.
Oh, my apologies. It is actually a weapon attack. I am going to have you attack with your mace on Trey. And you have bless, so don't forget to roll that extra d4 to hit him. I don't think a 17 would be high enough.
It would not.
Our curses. Sorry about that.
It's okay. We can play later.
And it's going to go to Lu Jimbao.
The guy that's directly north of me, he's the guy who was bleeding from last time.
Nope, the guy who is bleeding is dead.
Okay, then I'm going to use one key point, attack with the longsword and stunning strike on the guy to the north of me.
All right, you don't have to stunning strike until you actually hit somebody.
Okay.
That was a longbow attack, but it is still a 19 rolled. What are you doing here? You said longsword and you've rolled everything but a longsword.
Yeah, the longbow. Sorry, that was a misclick. That was supposed to be the longsword, and then I have two unarmed strikes after that.
Because you're using a key point to do flurry of blows.
No, I have two attacks. So I one is the longsword, one is the unarmed strike. The unarmed strike is my bonus action.
Technically, your first two attacks are going to be with that longsword.
You can't do one on one.
Unless you drop your longsword, like it is your main hand, which attacks twice, and then your bonus action attacks with your offhand.
Okay, I got you. So then, yeah, the first two are for the longsword, and the third one is for the unarmed strike.
All right. What is the modifier on your longsword, though?
+6.
All right. So only the first attack is going to hit there with the longsword. Can you roll damage with the longsword?
You have bless as well.
Roll
So
1d4. Your unarmed strike can hit too. Stop rolling with the longbow. Use a long sword. Why is
yeah,
there? Why are you rolling longbow shit?
I'm sorry. I'm changing that right now. Sorry.
Anything else from Lu Jianbao? Are you doing the stunning strike for a key point?
Yes. Constitution save.
He is going to save against it.
I'm done.
The creature southwest of Johann is going to smash down on him. Should hit, and he is going to do 12 piercing damage to you, Johann.
Yep, I'm okay.
So this should take us to Velixis. By now, you all should have a pretty good idea that these creatures are at least a little bit resistant to magical attacks. What would you like to do, Velixis?
Uh, all right. She's still gonna on the guy behind her, the little one. He is going to gonna hit him with a firebolt.
It will be at disadvantage. Oh, no, never mind. Straight roll.
Did it
Roll the d20.
Okay.
On the left side of your attacks, everybody, there's a little thing that will show like a little hot art. If you click that on the left side of the name, that will or should, if you have it set up right, roll the d20 and roll the damage at once.
Oh, very helpful.
That's with a +6. to your spell attack? I think we determined yes. So that
Yeah.
is a hit, dealing 8 more damage to it.
All right. After that, she's gonna kind of step back a little bit. She's gonna move back a little bit.
Where are you moving back to?
Right there.
Both of those creatures are going to swing out at you. The one from the north should hit you with that with a 19. And he's going to do 6 piercing damage. And then the one to the east of you is going to swing out. Should hit you with a 22. And he deals.
You cut her after he deals.
I had to look up what the stats are. He's going to do another 8 bludgeoning damage to you.
All right. So 8 and 6.
Yes. And that will takes us to Trey.
I'm going to turn around and immediately just attack the one to the north of me. Go ahead and do this. Right. Let's see that roll damage as well. No, but we'll go ahead and do that. Is that correct? It should be the 9 for one-handed.
Solid strike into him.
After that, I will just I will go ahead and end my turn.
Wheeling around, this one is going to continue to attack Brennick. Should hit you with a 22. And my bad. He's going to do 14 piercing damage to you, Brennick.
Did he save against slipping?
He's moving 5 feet. Even if he falls over, he can stand back up and easily move. But yes, he does save against slipping.
Sorry, I think my voice or my audio cut out. Can you guys hear me?
Yep, can hear you now. I attacked you again with that same one who just kind of wheeled around you to the north now. And he hits you with a 22, and then that's for 14 piercing damage.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I think I don't know. My Bluetooth connection's a bit off. Sorry about that. But shield wouldn't have worked in that case anyway. So
And then we're back around to Johan.
How you doing, Brannock? Do you need a healing?
If he's not under half, you can't really see it at this point.
And I can't ask him.
I mean, technically in combat, you guys should not be talking about stuff that's happening in combat because he comes after you. He can respond on his turn because it's part of your action economy to speak. That's part of where, like, generic stuff about, like, things you can talk about on the campfire about any given battle, you are perfectly welcome to talk about stuff like that while you're fighting. But specifically asking if somebody needs healing, you basically have to wait for his turn to have his reply.
Can I evaluate? Can I glance over and see if he's extremely, how battered
If
he
he's
looks?
bloodied, if he's under 50%, you can. Otherwise, you need to do a medicine check, and like that's action economy to try to see if he looks injured.
Okay. So I will attempt to determine if he's under 50%.
I don't think he is. I'm pretty sure he's at like 3 hit points missing.
yeah, I'm Lathander took the worst of that blow.
Oh, okay. Can
And-
Johan? Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna, and don't forget, I think Trey or he redirected that other strike, so that first one didn't actually hit me
Ah,
the last turn. So yeah, Brannick looks fine.
can Johann occupy the same space as the spiritual weapon?
100%.
Okay, Johann shifts and casts Guiding Bolt at the Duergar, who's essentially to his west.
At disadvantage
Because of the shift?
because you're in combat. It will miss.
And then he attacks with the spiritual weapon.
That it does better damage than that. Watch
Oh
you
yeah,
roll
that was
actual
less.
dice.
Well, I was afraid that if I cast it, it would take it from my
Just watch your spell
slot, but
slots.
okay. Okay, I'm just gonna roll a d8. Just roll a d8 for it, so it'll be this plus 4.
That will drop him.
That'll do it for me.
On to Brannick.
So Brannick doesn't like being right up in this guy's face, so he's going to start kind of like trying to maneuver around. As he's going, he's going to shoot out his hand and cast magic missile at the Duergar immediately to his northwest or northeast.
Gotcha. What level?
Just the first level.
Gotcha. Give me 2 more.
And he's going to keep backing up.
He's going to swing on you as you step away from him.
Yep.
Should hit you with the 21.
Yeah, even with shields.
That's going to do 18 piercing damage to you.
Oof, okay.
Now I'm pretty sure Brannick looks bloodied.
That did it, yep. Yeah, that's it for Brannick. All right, just moving 5 more feet.
The one north of Lucian Bao is going to smash down on top of him with his military pick. Big ol' miss. The guy north of Trey is going to move in and attack Lucian Bao. 18 will hit, and an 11 will miss. As he does 11 bludgeoning damage with his hammer to Lucian Bao.
And we did have a plus 10 hit point.
Yep, everybody should start their day with 10 temporary hit points.
Just double checking.
Which, a note to you, Johann, make sure when you are adding aid that when you go into your hit points, you are increasing your maximum hit points by 5. You had 15 temporary hit points. You can
Yeah.
only ever have one thing doing temporary hit points, and temporary hit points are not the same as an increase to your maximum hit points. So I adjusted that where your max is up by 5, and you are back to 10 temporary hit points.
Oh, okay. In that case, didn't I take?
You probably
Didn't I take
started this
like?
day perfectly
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
But I
In that case,
adjusted it between this week.
okay. In that case, my temps are gone and my currents should be. Okay. I'm gonna adjust my hit points right now then because I did screw up.
It should have been set though. If you just deal damage to yourself, it should always take from your temporary hit points first.
I didn't have any temporary hit points set on my thing.
You lost yours because you got hit at the start of last week, and you got hit for 13. The first 10 took away your temporary hit points, and then you took 3 hit points. So I think you probably are still vaguely in that area until I think that last hit when you moved away there. But your hit
Okay.
points were correct at the start of today.
Okay, then yeah. I got like 9.
From the back of the room, I think this guy is going to have Trey make an intelligence saving throw for me, please.
Okay. This tracks.
Solid. Let me get a. What weapons do you carry?
I carry a warhammer. Or do you want like the entire list of what I got?
Yeah, solid warhammer right into the back of Velixis's head, please.
Oh, cool. Can I roll?
Oh, you definitely roll.
That's messed up.
Did you bless yourself?
No, I didn't. I gave my bless to everyone else. Oh. Now, am I like charmed? Like, should I action surge?
No, it's just one attack.
Oh, okay.
Can I attempt to dodge this?
He missed. He rolled a shit roll.
Well, Johan did it to me, so I thought we were just supposed to pass it on. So you get Brannick next. I guess I'll end my turn.
That's not your turn. Um.
Oh, sorry. I don't know why I thought that. My apologies.
Yeah, I think that's going to take it back to Lu Jianbao. So wait, you can only bless 3 people. Who'd you bless? I've got Lu Jianbao and Johan.
Lu Jianbao, Johan, and Brannick.
I think it was Velixis you blessed.
Was it? Okay, then Velixis.
Brannick, will you roll a dexterity saving throw for me, please? Gotcha.
Oh yeah, I walked right into the magical storm, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that, but he would have done it anyway to get away from the Duergar. So
Don, are you there? What is Lu Jianbao doing?
Attacking the guy north of him with the long sword and stunning strike again.
All right, wait till you hit and then tell me that you're stunning striking. So 2 longsword attacks. Or rather the first. Roll the damage. And are you going to stunning strike him?
Yes.
He will resist. but he will die. And then bonus action.
I'm gonna flurry of blows the guy to the west of me.
Gotcha. Bless can't help that, but one of those hits, roll the damage.
And that'll be my turn.
So from up above, you all are going to hear the pitter patter of some little feet, and no, fuck it, not even going to be little feet. You're going to hear the stomps of big old feet. As two more of these creatures jump down from up above. First one is going to club out at Velixis with his military pick. Big ol' miss. And the second one, I think, only has Trey to attack. So he's going to bring this down on Trey. Big ol' miss. And it's going to go to Velixis.
I'm here. I'm sorry. I was thinking of something. Um, I'm trying to figure out if this would give an opportunity attack. Not, but what I want to do is, oh god, my screen is shrunk. It's tiny.
I did not hear you. What were you saying?
I'm sorry. I was thinking about something. I'm not sure how it would work or if it would give an opportunity attack. It doesn't look like it does. But what I want to do was cast invisibility on myself and one other person, since I can do it at level 2 for one other person, so that I can dash out or between the two giants to the south of me, south and west, to get a little bit of distance and give, I guess, an opportunity to attack to one of the others, one either Lujimbo or to Right, since they are right here and they'll be invisible for that moment.
Who are you casting invisibility on?
Myself, and I'll cast it on. Let's see. I'll cast it on. I'll say Trey.
You're casting invisibility on me?
Didn't you just attack her?
I'm testing it on either Trey or illusion, but that's what I was trying to figure out which would be better for that. But
Just do it. Don't listen to them. Trey, and you become invisible. What would you like to do? Nope, not you, Trey. Still on Velixis.
I'm gonna use my dash action to move right here. Is that too far?
Make a dexterity saving throw. Nope, that works perfectly fine.
Okay. And that'll be my turn because I don't think I can do another attack.
And it will go to Trey.
Okay. So I'm invisible, but if I attack, that does break invisibility, right?
It will indeed, but you also gain advantage.
Okay. That's awesome. I like that. Give me 1 second here. I'm gonna go ahead and smite. This little guy.
You don't
for
have
the
to smite until you hit.
well, I'm correct.
And if you do a bonus action smite, you will no longer be invisible.
But I mean, if I hit with an attack, I'd still break invisibility, correct?
But then if you hit with it, you can do your smite. It's the same thing as with his stunning strike. If you miss, you don't have to waste the thing. And that's why I'm trying to kind of nail it into you guys. Like, you do that after you hit. With stunning strike and smite, those are awesome because you can wait until you know it's going to affect something and then do it. If you want to smite and attack, I will be perfectly fine letting you throw away a spell slot if it misses. But you can wait to hit and then decide to smite.
Okay. All right. On a mechanical issue, understand. Just also for my own edification, let's say I'm just still doing a normal attack. If I hit, I still lose invisibility. That is my question.
100%. The moment you attack or cast a spell, invisibility is gone.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Well, yes, it's good that I missed. I'll end my turn.
One of the Duergar is going to step out of combat with you, Illusion Bow. Oh wait, never mind. He can't see Velixis. There's no reason that he. But he does sense you. Yeah, he's gonna step out of combat with you, Illusion Bow. Would you like to attack it as it leaves combat?
Yes, of course. Opportunity attack.
Yep. So when I say something stepping out of combat, that's for you to say I'd like to make an attack.
Gotcha. And that'll be with the unarmed strike or with the melee weapon.
It's up to you. You've still got a longsword in your hand.
It will be the longsword.
That is going to be a miss.
DM,
Um,
with being large, do I have reach from where I am for a reaction for an opportunity attack?
I don't believe your reach increases with yours.
Okay.
Creature is going to swing out at you, Velixis. I feel like an 11 is a miss. You're at 13 AC.
Yes.
And it's going to go to Johan.
How tall is the hold? Is it higher than 10 feet?
Why? What are you looking for?
Call lightning.
I feel like you have to be outside for call lightning.
Well, it says if you know, it basically says the room has to accommodate it. Hold on.
Yeah, I'm gonna say inside of a ship you cannot call lightning.
Okay, I'm going to guiding bolt the guy immediately to my northwest.
Yeah, I think inside of here you could call lightning if you got closer to the actual open of the hold, and you would only be able to call lightning down on the spaces that are actually open to the sky above.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
But it both includes that you have to be able to see the sky, as well as the lightning strikes have to be able to get to that point. So it would literally be that little area that is kind of lit up. That could be the only thing that you could attack with call lightning.
Got
Who
it.
did you guiding bolt?
The one that's closest to me, he's to my northwest.
Gotcha. That's gonna leave him pretty severely bloodied.
And then bonus action with the spiritual weapon to strike the same one.
That will be at advantage. And that will kill it.
And I will move. I'll step over that dead body.
Brennick, dexterity saving throw. What would you like to do?
All right, so Brannick manages to keep his feet. He's going to launch some more little tiny magical darts into the Duergar to his right here, the one he previously attacked, this time at second level.
Like
Or
northeast
14.
of Valixis?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, that'll drop it.
And he's going to move, trying to get out of the storm. So kind of back towards the others now that this one's been dropped. Do I need another deck save as I leave the area?
I don't think so, no.
Okay. So that's Brannick's turn there. Oh, but it is difficult terrain, so I might not be able to. I probably can't get that far. That'd be all as far as I can get.
Neither Lu, Jimbao, nor Trey are at 50% or less hit points. Is that correct?
Correct. I'm
Correct.
doing pretty well.
Next two attacks are going to go into Lu Jimbao. Big ol' miss. Big ol' miss. And let me get. Yeah, I feel like this will be passive perception, actually. I don't think anybody has a reason to see this. Nope. And it's going to go to Lu Jimbao.
Do long sword to the guy to the right of me. Sorry about that third one.
So you can roll damage on those. So first one's for 8 damage. Roll a second one. Or I guess are you stunning striking with the first one?
No.
Second one's going to kill him.
And I'm gonna use my bonus action. Flurry of blows to the guy to the west.
So the first one can't hit. Second one will crit. Roll the damage. Roll one more d6. And anything else from you? Would you like to move anymore?
Nope.
That one to the north of Trey is going to smash down. Big ol' miss, and it's going to go to Velixis. Dexterity saving throw, please, Velixis, and then a Constitution saving throw. So you are going to fall prone, which means you can stand up, but you're at half movement. And then Constitution saving throw. I believe you are going to lose invisibility as your DC is 14 for your spell save, Johan.
On the sleet storm.
It's your spell save DC. What is it?
I don't
14?
know what my spell slave is. I don't know. Where do I find
Click
that?
on your spells. Pretty sure your spell save is 14.
Save DC is
I guess-
15. Is that it? I have a +4
Yep.
modifier, +7 spell attack, 15 save DC.
Yep. So you will lose invisibility, Velixis.
All right.
Did you add bless?
Roll a 4. You can roll a d4 and you roll a 4, you can save. Nope, still lose it. I don't think it matters though. If he attacks the one guy in the room, he still has advantage. But it's a lesson to learn. Don't walk into a sleet storm.
I did walk into a sleep storm, didn't I?
Both of the casters did. And that spell is an anti-caster spell.
Oh man. Then yeah, she's gonna cast firebolt at the other guy, the one guy in the room.
Gotcha, you've got advantage. Just reposted the actual like little picture of how I would like your D&D Beyond setup. Please all, if you can check that you are always roll twice for your D20s and then it's auto roll damage and crits, that would be awesome. 14 is a big ol' miss, and that should take it to Trey.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna go ahead and swing at this big old boy right to the north of me. That'll be a miss, and that'll be end my turn.
Johan.
Are there any exits to the hold other than the ladder that we came down?
Not that you can see.
Don't let the mage escape. And I'm going to guiding bolt.
As you say that and you're looking around for the mage, it's already gone.
Well, I understand it's invisible. Johan is okay. Maybe it's gone. I suppose Johan thinks it just turned invisible. So he just says that. And I'm going to guiding bolt there's only the one remaining standing, right? So I'm going to guiding bolt this one that is to the northeast of me.
Indeed. I would also not move into your own sleet storm.
Oh, I was trying to skirt the edge.
Currently, I would call you in it. Yeah.
All right.
Solid hit, and that will kill it.
Well, I break concentration on the sleet storm then.
When you think there's a mage inside of it?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. No, I'm still on alert.
Brennick, what are you doing?
Brannick is moving. Back towards the others. Is that well, that's all he can move anyway if he's still inside the storm.
What was it? You started like northwest of Elixis?
I started right north of him, I think, actually.
You could get out of it by going south instead of trying to go north.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I do then. And kind of looking around, not seeing the mage, I'm just going to take the dodge action. Like, and he's going to like any more, kind of just like to the group.
And then that will go to Lu Jianbao.
There's nobody left standing, right?
You would have just heard Johan say, "Don't let the mage escape." But other than that, yeah, you don't see anybody other than dead bodies around you.
I'm gonna attempt stealth.
You successfully hide from people who are staring at you. What are you trying to stealth?
I just want to disappear.
You want to like put a cardboard box over you?
I don't see anything going on, so that'll be my turn.
But like my point is like stealth isn't just something that you do. You do stealthy stuff. But like if you're just standing in the center of the hold, there's not really any stealth to do. So if you're not going to do anything, you can take like the dodge action.
Good call. Yes, please, dodge.
And then Velixis, what do you do?
She's gonna stand up and move and try to move out of the sleep.
So dexterity saving throw. Same thing. You can pick yourself up, but you're at half movement.
If it helps the bless.
You need to roll a 4 again. Nope, still falling.
So I think like 1 or 2 squares I can move.
I think you can move 1 because it's 10 feet per square.
Okay, then yeah, just move that 1 square to try to make my way out.
On to Trey.
Can I just do like a perception check? Like, do I see like an outline shadow in this sleet storm or anything?
You can roll perception. Looking around, looks like it's snowing inside of a ship.
Don't see that every day. There's snow everywhere here. I'll just have my hammer ready and stand in front of the ladder.
Johan?
I guard the ladder. The rest of us, let's move forward slowly. Yeah, Johan, I think, reaches out his. Each square is 10 feet or 5 feet.
Like on the map,
Yeah.
they are always 5 feet.
Okay.
If it's ever not 5 feet, it will be displayed somewhere. But
Yeah.
the map section, like if you click your miniature and you click on an up arrow, that's going to always move you 5 feet.
It was 10 for Velixis because it's difficult terrain in the storm.
Okay, Johan holds out his hands to Brannick and to Jin Bao and says, "Let's sweep forward for the magic user." And yeah, I think and moves his spiritual weapon. Can he sort of sweep his spiritual weapon back and forth in front of him like a blind man with a cane?
You certainly can try, and you'll very quickly recognize it doesn't actually exist. So it does nothing at all.
My spiritual weapon is gone, or I mean, I'm just trying to see if it bumps into something.
Yeah,
Like
you
a-
literally
like
have
an
stood
archer.
inside of your spiritual weapon before, and it does not bump into you. It is
Oh,
only
I
when
see.
you are attacking with somebody that it bumps into them.
Ah, got it. Okay, so for my action and movement, I'm essentially trying to form a line at the edge of the sleet storm with Brannick and Jinbao and Elixis.
Gotcha. So, Velixis, after 45 minutes of trying to find your way out of this sleet storm, they're going to ask you to go back inside of it. And as you all spend about another hour here, there's no mage left to be found. So, eventually, all of your magic is going to dissipate. What are you all doing?
Guess he got away from us.
Yeah, I suppose so. Well, does anyone need a healing touch? Or cure wounds, or healing word, or you name it.
I do.
How hurt are you, lad? Yeah, one way or the other. Yeah,
I
cure
got
wounds.
I got 19.
All right,
36.
all right.
I,
Take a
I
cure
came
wounds.
I came through unscathed, so I'm good.
Perhaps we should search these bodies. Perhaps there's something that tells us why why these things are here. And kind of as he's saying that, he's wincing and he's looking a little bit bloodied.
Let me get a perception from you, Brennick. So going through their bodies, you are going to be able to pick up a few of them had some coin on them for a total of 6 gold pieces. You can have 15 silver pieces and 3 coppers. And looking through their gear, you all can kind of collect up a total of 3, like, technically all of these are used, kind of damaged, but they're acceptable. 3 shields, um, 4 sets of scale mail, and 3 war picks that are all kind of salvageable. And you'll see that like one of the dwarves seems to have been like almost mated to its armor, so it's like flesh and the armor are like almost like drilled into its bones. And you can see that this dwarf is almost like raised in the armor for it to be like kind of effectively the one Liu Jianbao is standing on. It's like a bionic warrior.
Do they shrink to dwarf size on death, or do they remain large?
Yes, they do.
Pity that Mage got away. Would have been good to question him. But and now that the fight is over, kind of looking around the hold itself, does it appear that like is there significant damage? Is it possible to try and tell how long these like dwarves have been here? Are there signs of like sleeping like bedrolls or discarded food, anything like that that would suggest maybe they've been camping here for some time?
Roll another perception. Looking around, you can see that there are indeed like cots strewn up around here. There's definitely like open, like and used kind of supplies around. Um, you can find like 18 like rations. It's definitely like not especially palatable food, but it's kind of traditional dwarvish food, basically like a kind of like a tack kind of beer bread. Um, but overall, like, yeah, you see signs that they've been living here. It's kind of a foul place as far as things go, because you see signs basically that there's like these 8 dwarves that have been here. um you can see that like despite using things like buckets to throw some things away, not everything always hits the bucket, and it certainly leaves traces behind. But you can roll an investigation at disadvantage if you want more information about how long they've been here.
No, I think he would. I mean, it's clear that they've been here for at least a little bit of time, and I don't think he'd be investigating that much closer. He'd be more interested in maybe now that kind of the immediate fight is over, like the fresh probably blood and burnt flesh is now mingling with all the old stale bad stuff, and Brennick's probably anxious to get some fresh air again. but he'll wait for the others to see if what they're thinking.
Is there any access to the stern area of the ship from the hold?
Feel like there's meant to be a door behind the ladder where this one has boxes. So let's say yes. I feel like the way this this actual setup is, it kind of plays off at the idea that maybe you access the stern from up above in the captain's quarters. It didn't really make sense to me, but you can eventually find your way back there. You just see more signs of like bedding and things kind of strewn about, having been like living quarters of sorts.
What lubberly sailors these are. Tell me, friends, does it make sense to you that these creatures would take up residence in a ferry so close to the town?
I mean, I mean, the ship's not going anywhere. It's cold as all get out. So, I mean, if they're able to hold it in an area that doesn't want to do anything about it, guess so.
Aye, true enough. And you got your fight you were looking for. Arr, arr, arr.
It was great, but I'm gonna go up top and just see if I can find any traces of that mage. And I'm gonna walk on up to the top of the deck and cast guidance on myself and see if I can find any tracks.
You can roll a perception check.
Never mind, I do not have guidance. I take that back.
So, taking a few moments to look about, you can spend some time trying to like make a difference between some tracks and the next tracks, and eventually kind of come to the conclusion that it seems like maybe he did make his escape and crossed out into the ice, and it's just kind of like heading off into the distance. But it's using very tiny little footprints. So this creature became tiny and escaped through the hold of the ship, perhaps rather than actually going invisible and sneaking past you all.
Oh, that's hilarious. Just getting smaller and smaller. All right, I'll go back down to the hold and tell everyone that. And what do we do next? We still haven't checked out the office upstairs.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's also. Is there anything about
Oh,
the
also
shields?
there are call traps on the bottom on the floor.
Right,
I threw
that.
some in there before we jumped on down here and dealt with all of this. So just be careful, watch where you step.
Johann looks for a shield that maybe is, characteristic, that it either has a symbol on it or that people might recognize it as being prototypically Duergar. He's basically thinking of trying to take some proof that they took care of the ferry back to town.
All right, roll an insight check for me and then an investigation. You know, don't roll the insight check because I'm just going to tell you guys this. There is no way that you guys can improve how this town looks on you. Still chose to go everybody else first. You guys can fight for that all you want, but it's part of how this is going to play out, is that these towns that you all did not help are going to hate you all for it. So you just can't help everybody. stop trying to be white knights. But with that in mind, you can certainly find stuff that is clearly Duergar. So
Well, I think Jan was thinking more along the lines of throwing it in the face.
what could that happen? Go bad and maybe burn you at the stake for it. Nothing
Yeah,
bad could happen.
exactly.
Very clear. Donnie, you're out of your element moment here. You guys are focusing on the wrong part of the story. So, you going back up top and you're spending the time to pick up all of those caltrops?
Yeah, yeah, sure. Why not? While we, search the office.
Roll a D100 for me. Roll a dexterity saving throw. So you guys are going to spend the better part of like 45 minutes just kind of like trying to sort out these caltrops before the office is relatively cleaned up. But you can go through this office. As far as the captain's quarters goes, I don't think there's anything else for you all to find here.
Thank y'all for helping me or holding the torch while I pick all this up.
Well, it seems that if we have no other pressing business in this town, perhaps it's time to head north again.
Doesn't look
Yeah, seems
here.
longer we stay here may be pressing our luck.
So, Johan, question. I mean, could we take this shit? Could we break the ice and get it out?
Uh, well, I could probably shatter some of the ice, but I fear we'd just be icebound in 20 feet.
Oh, it's that bad, huh?
Uh, Johann looks to the distance for open water.
I mean, you guys have seen every single one of these lakes is frozen over. There's maybe 10% of most of these lakes that are not frozen, and it tends to be the northeastern side.
Yeah. This is nice. I mean, I don't think we can sail a ship across ice. At least not one that I've ever heard of.
I, for one, think we should heed the White Lady's words or mention of a spire in the north. Would be my suggested next destination.
So we're to get nothing from this little battle of ours. We do the sheriff's work for him. No coin even, or barely any coin for the work.
I mean, we could always just set it on fire and walk away.
Well, I thought we did a
Leave,
good
leave,
deed by the town.
leave a really good first impression. I'm just kidding. That'd be horrible. Someone could make a home out of this.
Felix just kind of just snuffs out the fireball she had ready.
I don't think
Yes.
anything would change the sheriff's opinion of us.
Let's just leave these miserable people to their miserable town and continue on our way.
Ah, Johann spits on the ground and picks up his pack and gets ready to go.
Shout out a sarcastic "You're welcome" as we walk past the tavern, point towards the ferry.
Let me get an intelligence from everybody. Velixis, Brennick, you all know where the actual shopkeep or the owner of the ferry actually is. They are a drunk and they spend all of their time in
Was it the something trout, right? The other.
Maybe the drunken
yeah,
trout.
the wet
That's on a
trout
night.
sounds right. I mean, this is just one of those things, like, if you guys are looking for a reward, going to the right people is completely different than going to somebody who obviously has bought into, like, a negative thought on who you are.
So we at least let the owner know that his ship is free of infestations.
Yes, perhaps avoid using any names that might set him off, like it seems to set off the others. But I suppose it couldn't hurt to let him know before we take our leave.
I could use a drink for the road. Or
Yeah,
So
so the wet trout is clear on the east side of Easthaven. It is essentially across from the final of the Little Piers, but you all can make your way over there and eventually find your way inside. Damn, I did not keep track of time between this session and last session. When did you all go to the ferry? Was that on the morning? Did you sleep at the tavern? Or did you guys
Nope.
get the reading and then you went right there?
Yeah, I got the reading and went right there. We have not spent the night in Easthaven yet.
Gotcha. So, yeah, I think it's, still relatively late now at that point, into the actual moon, through the horizon, that you all could go into the wet trout. About 8 patrons inside and a single person who is behind the bar.
Brannick would offer to, using the coin he found on the Duergar, he'll offer to buy a round for the group.
salute, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So the tavern keep here is a pretty large woman who probably towers over, I think, pretty much this entire group. Anybody over like 6'5"?
I am 6'5".
Yeah. So she is pretty much the exact same height as you. Probably has a little bit more of like broad shoulders than yourself, if not relatively similar. But she will greet you all into the tavern. You see the other patrons inside. Most of them are kind of sitting off together. Probably about three groups in this area, in the tavern of those 8 people. But you can pick up a round of drinks at 2 silver apiece. And what would you all like to ask and or do inside of the wet trap? And part of me reminding you is perhaps to actually say that the name of the owner is Sithan.
So I think as Brannick is paying for the drinks, he might address the barkeep, kind of like nodding and thanks, handing over the gold Scythanen. Here he spends a fair amount of time here.
Yeah, I think she'll be pretty quick to kind of point over into a corner where there's one person or 2 people sitting together, and basically just kind of show you that of these 2, the one like on kind of the far wall is Sithan, and they seem to be kind of like up against the wall in kind of a back corner, so they're basically facing the door. Have a pretty solid idea that this person saw you all while you walked in. But other than that, she will point you over towards Sithan, and just kind of with a little sly remark, drop Sithan's always here, babe.
Excellent. Thank you. And Brannick will turn back towards the others, kind of walking back towards the others. He'll be glancing towards Johan and perhaps he might take the lead. You're a sailor, he's a sailor, or an owner of a boat at the very least.
Ah, well, sure enough. In matters nautical, I'm not surprised you need that I take the lead. Yeah. So Johann, of course, you know, perks right up at the suggestion that this is sailor work, and throws his shoulders back and approaches the Sephan. When he gets to the table, if they look up, he says, "Evening to you, gentlemen. We're looking for Sethan, I believe, is the name."
And you've found them. How can I help you?
We understand you've been having a little trouble with the ferry on the lake. Is that right?
The damn thing's gone and frozen. Just a smart
Oh,
ass reply like, yeah, of course, the lakes are fucking frozen.
no, I wasn't speaking to its, what is the word, mobility. I was speaking more to its current crew.
The crew sitting right here in front of you.
Oh, you don't have a problem with Duergar then? Oh, my mistake.
I don't have a problem with who?
Ah, well, I was under the impression that the ship was playing home to a small crew of these dwarves. Duergar, I believe, is the term for them.
And who's told you this?
Oh, why, me own eyes, I suppose. But if I'm mistaken, I apologize.
Have out with it. What are you trying to say to me? Did you break into my ship? Did you damage it?
Huh. I think you've got us wrong. We were merely wondering if you needed any help getting rid of the Duergar who are living in your ship, which is pretty clear if you just look at the tracks on the dock leading up to it.
So you
My
have been to my
mistake.
ship.
Well, I said the docks, did I not? But clearly I'm mistaken. You seem to have matters well under control.
That I do.
Johann just turns away, kind of gives a look to whoever's accompanying him to the table, and steps away.
I would have accompanied you and but I would have stayed quiet.
So as you walk away, I think anybody who's even remotely nearby is going to hear as the two pick up their conversation. And Sithan clearly is saying, like, why would there be anybody crewing a ship that's frozen in the ice? And then basically just remarks something to the effect of, these freaking idiots who travel through this place.
Jim Bao would turn to him and say, it appears that you're the idiots, for we have been to your boat and there are, or I should say there were dwarfs there. For what purpose, we don't know. But you can go see for yourselves. We dispatched them all.
So you did break into my ship. And Sithan will be saying this to Johann.
We went on your ship looking to see if there was anyone there. It is true we stepped on the decks without permission.
And did you damage her? Is she still seaworthy?
I think Johann's being truthful, and he says there's not a harm to a slake on the ship from our hands.
Roll a persuasion. What are you doing that is getting ready for a bar fight, Trey?
Just like loosening up my neck. We've been out in the cold for the past several hours. Just kind of shaking my shoulders.
And have you come here to extort me?
Extortion is an ugly word and not our business at all. But we were going to inform you that your ship, apparently unknown to you, had become the den for a pack of dark dwarves, and they will not be a problem for ye anymore.
And was it so hard to just say that?
Well,
What's
begging
your
your
friend doing there? Do they fancy themselves a fighter? The wee one? Kind of nodding over towards Trey.
Well, he does indeed fancy himself a fighter, and I've seen him fight. But Captain, just to remind you, did you not know then that your ship had been overrun by the squatters?
Sithin kind of looks back over to you and I don't think I've left the wet trout for 2 or 3 months.
Well, anyway, if your ship is of interest to you, I think it's in a little better condition than we found it.
Let me get a charisma from you. That's a curious thing for travelers to do. I can perhaps appreciate what you might have done. Still wonder why you were there. But I hope you could take my thanks. And Sithan's going to pull out like a little satchel and pull out 6 little pieces of scrimshaw and hand them off to you.
Well, yeah, Johann takes this. He sort of accepts that a piece of scrimshaw can be a valuable thing. I don't know if he has any perception of it. You know, he looks it over, tries to appreciate it.
For mechanical purposes of like recording those, just record that there's 6 pieces of 1 gold scrimshaw.
Yeah, oh, well, these are beautiful pieces.
I don't have much, but it's what I can say as a thank you.
Well,
Yep.
information would be valuable also, wouldn't it, Brannick?
I know everything that's happened in the Wet Trout for the last 3 months. What could you care to know?
On second thought.
Yes, he's doesn't appear to be much of the world traveler. This one.
Well, I'll tell you. Now, do you have enough sway with the tavern keeper to perhaps get us rooms for the night?
Shit, I can't think of what it is called anymore. But in the early 20th century, there were inns that are like, it's like a sitting spot, and you can basically sleep while you are sitting. And that's what this inn offers. It's not an actual room, it's a place for you to fall asleep, but you are basically inside of a seat. Um, and Sithan will basically say, wish I could remember what that is called. Sithan will basically say, like, if you're looking for a place to sleep, you might want to find your way over to the White Lady Inn.
I think we'll have a much better time here. I'll get the next round. Now that, it doesn't look like there's going to be a fight or anything, let's get relaxed.
A chair is as good as a hammock to the likes of me.
So let's take a break here. You all can figure out what you would like to do coming up here, and we'll pick back up about like 20 or 25 after.
Question though, real quick. How much would it cost to buy, like, I don't know, how many people are in the tavern, and how much would it cost to get everyone drunk?
Everyone drunk is a different story of buying a round, but there's 5 of you, so there's a total of 14 people, including the barkeep, in this place. At 2 silver drink, you're looking at a gold and 4 silver for each round. I think that's right. No, wait, it would be 2 gold and 8 silver each round.
I'll give you a full answer when we come back from the break. I need to do some math.
Maybe that was Andrew? Yeah.
Correct. My apologies.
Did you decide on whether you would like to buy drinks for the tavern, or what are you thinking?
Yeah, I'll buy 3 rounds for the tavern.
Gotcha. Let me get roll 3 charisma checks for me. Not saves, just checks. Or Let me have a 1d12 from each of the other 4 players. So while you all hang out and spend the rest of this evening drinking late into the night, you're gonna pick up a few new little things from different people here and there. Hearing about an Easthaven fisher who seems to have been attacked by gnolls coming out of the spine of the world off to the east. You're going to hear stories about a comet that was seen to have crashed off into the south. And some people who kind of catch on to this fact that you all are the type to stick your noses into business and look for things that are mysterious and dangerous. And they're going to recommend that if you're ever searching for something and you really need to find it, never forget the nomads of the Red Glacier. They're the people who have lived here the longest. They're the only people who actually belong here, and they know Icewind Dale like the back of their hand.
What was their name again?
It's just the nomads of the Red Glacier.
Johann is going to casually ask the person who'd sort of been speaking about the nomads of the Red Glacier if he knows anything about the leaders of of the clans and the clans leaders.
I don't think anybody who lives in Easthaven has any business um, with anything other than simply knowing that they exist.
All right, Johann doesn't
You-
push it.
You're still talking to drunkards. These are purely just rumors that you can pick up.
Yep.
Is anyone able to, when they mention the rumor about the gnolls, like, do we get the name of the fishermen or where we might be able to find them? Find the fishermen, I mean, not the gnolls. Thinking if we're possibly headed out that way, if we could learn anything about where they came from or avoid being surprised, possibly.
They could point you towards Trovis of Caer Koenig, as somebody who's dealt with the gnolls a few times. Um,
You said trolls of Caraconic?
Trovis, he was the town speaker there.
Okay, I'm sorry. I completely misheard that. I heard trolls, and I was about to be like, huh?
I feel like they can share the name Nabira Moorskull, as the actual like owner, who was attacked, like the fisher who was attacked, but Nabira like got killed, so the name isn't really useful.
Okay. Yeah, Brannick misunderstood and thought maybe the fisherman had actually escaped from it, but obviously not. So, but good to know that there are, need to watch our back for gnolls if we're heading east.
Which I think we're
Yeah, that's kind of why Brannick was
are, aren't we?
interested, since that's kind of the direction we're potentially headed. So that's just why that caught his attention.
Check your rations, shipmates. I have good rations. I have 10 rations and 13 pounds of moose pemmican.
What's pemmican?
Well, I don't know, really. I believe it's salted and maybe salted. Frozen moose, I think.
Pemmican is meat rendered fat and like fruits and vegetables, but the fat basically preserves it. But it is quite literally kind of pretty similar to what most people would expect, like from dog food.
Alexa's mouth just salivates. She is hungry. We haven't eaten since we set out to do this, to go to that ship to fight those creatures. She is just hungry.
Yeah, I mean, Brannick would have also shared out the, not that it's the most appetizing thing, but the hardtack rations that he found back at the ferry.
Yeah, I'll. I think after enough, beverage trays, probably like, sure, I'll eat anything right now. So he'll try some of the pemmican if you don't mind.
Sure. Johann breaks out a pound of pemmican and scarfs it down with the crew and whoever else wants to eat some.
I'd have to buy a few more rounds before this starts tasting good, but would keep you full at least. But are we thinking of spending the night here, or we get take our leave in the morning, or trying our luck again at the White Lady?
It seems like this place seems friendlier. Chairs and a safe chair is a better bed than.
I swear to God, like, I mean, if you want to go, that's okay. But if I deal with that halfling once again, insults me or anyone I know, I sit on him at the very least.
Well, then I suppose here's as good a place as any.
Agreed. Get some rest and prepare to leave in the morning.
And Brennick will offer to pay for the night's lodgings if it's going to cost the money again out of the coin he found on the Duergar.
Yeah, it's just a copper receipt.
But Brennick would also suggest they maybe not make it obvious, but maybe have kind of a watch going just in case, something. I mean, we know not everybody in town likes us all that much, and just maybe having somebody keep an eye open through the night might be not a bad idea.
I would agree with that.
At this moment, I kind of wish I knew alarm, because I would just set it on the door and be like, go to sleep.
You guys are about to sleep in a room with it, probably at least these like 8 other people.
It's called a 2-penny hangover. Or at least that's what it was called, I think, in like the 19th century.
Sounds about right. I heard about them when I was watching some shit on the what is it, the White Hill murders, Jack the Ripper, because like that's kind of like what most of the prostitutes back then would do. It's basically like working class place to sleep when you're homeless.
or penny sit-ups. It's another term.
Penny
I
sit up
like
sounds a
that
little
word,
bit closer.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
I
I'll
feel
take
like,
the first watch. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, I feel like the hangover has a little bit more connotations that wasn't necessarily there.
Yep, Johan will take first watch.
Ballistas will take second.
I can take that.
Or-
Third or fourth.
I'll take third or fourth. I mean, I'll take third.
I guess I'd bring up the rear.
I mean, Brennick's more afraid of like pickpockets than getting into a fight. But
Let me have you all roll 2d6. Nothing at all happened. So everybody can take a long rest. Everybody can set their temporary hit points up to 10. Just so you know to actually use it, Larry, whenever you have like lost your temporary hit points, you still have that inspiring leadership feat. When you need to like give that, it's just a 10-minute speech. In the long run, it's still a very useful thing, even with the blessing of the Morning Lord.
Yeah, it's just that it takes a long time. I mean, like I guess I could have done it before that last battle if
Well, you all had 10 temporary hit points.
sort of expected an encounter there. Oh,
Yeah,
and the
you could have done
inspiring
it,
thing would not. You can't stack temp hit points. That's my lesson.
and
for
yours
the
is
day.
4 less. Yeah, you can reapply it, and people can choose which they want to have. But I think right now yours is your wisdom modifier plus your level. So your temporary hit points is 9. Anybody who's taken any damage at all would choose yours over the Blessing of Lathander. But as long as Blessing of Lathander is there and they have 10, right now there's no reason to take yours. But like after that battle, if you had given an inspiring speech, you could have reset everybody who took any damage at all could have had, I think again, it's 9 temporary hit points from you.
Yeah, I'm looking. It's 8, but yeah, okay, I see. So give it after the first battle of the day might be the.
Oh, what is it?
It's 10 minutes. You can
No,
spend.
no,
10
no. I
minutes
mean
inspiring.
the way it's calculated. Isn't it your wisdom or is it your charisma?
Oh, beats me. I'm just reading it straight. It says each creature gains 8 temp HP once per short rest.
Yeah, but you should be able to click something to see like a deeper info grab on it.
Yeah, I saw it a second ago.
But regardless, my point is like noticing that you had chosen that. Like I don't want to devalue it when you guys gain that blessing with Lathander, but like this is just an extra level of you can apply temporary hit points. And also everybody who had aid, make sure to remove if you go into your hit points on your normal character sheet, you should see those 5 maximum hit points. Get rid of that.
it's your level plus your charisma modifier.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. It's charisma, not your wisdom.
I think it's pretty funny that Johan actually has a high charisma because I kind of play him as a jerk.
I don't see him as a jerk at all.
Well, a blowhard, right?
Yeah, high charisma and high wisdom is where I have a little bit more perhaps trouble because he's definitely saying stuff on purpose. He's not like stumbling over his words. He knows what to say. But it could just be one of those things where realistically, like, charisma doesn't mean you look good, and it doesn't mean that you're like well spoken. It just means that people like you. And that's kind of like one of those weird things. Like, you can be a pretty ugly person and say pretty terrible things, but still have people like oddly attracted to you.
There goes Johann again.
I feel like, yeah, there's like certain politicians are like, why does anybody like, they're idiots. Why does anyone follow? And it's just some weird intangible charisma, I guess, that draws people to him.
I mean, his name was Anthony Weiner, and he got kicked out for Wiener picks. I mean, how does this happen?
Man, well,
I mean, I'd probably be sending dick pics.
wait, I'm sorry. I feel like I completely missed that just now.
Like, you don't know
I
who
heard,
Anthony Weiner is?
I heard Anthony Weiner, and then I'd be sending dick pics. What?
Wasn't he the guy
I
who
feel like
got
that's
like caught
Yes.
in the bathroom?
Yes, he was a New York senator, I think. And anyway, he got caught cross-dressing and sending dick pics to women who and like people like within like his campaign structure, and it's like you vote for a guy named Tony Weiner, and he gets impeached or gets kicked out for dick pics. So, charisma.
And then
Don't
he tried. Then he tried to come back. Right? He had to try to have this whole political comeback, and there were people like supporting him. And then he did it again.
Yeah, you could
Yeah.
at least own it.
Yeah.
when he sent them with like under the pseudonym Carlos Danger.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
I don't know why, but Carlos makes that feel mildly racist.
Totally.
So, besides the wonderful political structure that we have here in the U.S., you all are waking up in the morning in Easthaven. Nobody feels like especially rested, but you're also not like worn out. It's definitely an interesting thing, like sleeping in a place that kind of like makes sleeping happen a lot less than it was designed for sleeping. And you all can kind of move forward with your day. That updated map now shows the locations. I should have actually never like named the Lost Spire, but you guys like basically know like the Lost Spire mark is the northeastern of those. You have the vague mark to kind of like the southeast, which is where they kind of like point off. This is where um, the fisher. That's kind of like where they're leading you with that like missing fisher, the fisherman who was attacked, and then the mark, kind of southwest or almost directly south of the Red Waters, is where the meteor kind of crashed down. So those are your other kind of options here. And then again, as far as the Red Glacier goes, if you're looking for the nomads, they just exist up there. They are nomadic, so you have to kind of just go out and try to track, for what it is worth, what might give you an option to find them. So it's like a go fetch quest for a chance for more answers on a go fetch quest.
that tracking nomads sounds like that's gonna be difficult,
Doesn't really
especially in snow and ice and sleet.
Yeah,
I
again,
imagine
that's one of those things. My bad. Go ahead, Justin.
I was gonna say, like, I imagine they know how to stay unseen if they don't want to be.
So that's one of those things like, how creative are you guys to lower a DC? How how high do you roll to actually accomplish a DC, and then just the simple fact of like we don't have to play out every single day to get you there. Um, that's definitely something like as far as things go, I'm not terribly clean on doing like exploration campaigns. I really like the idea of by this level, a lot of stuff that you all are encountering is not really a draw against you. And it's far more like, searching for the black cabin was like you guys do a couple of rolls. We have a little bit of possible things happen, but it's like, and 5 days pass by and you guys are at the black cabin trying to get home, and 10 days pass by and you're able to get back to Bryn Shindar. Um, Going to search for the nomads isn't necessarily going to be a long amount of time. It's a question of how much in-game time gets burnt based on the rolls to find it.
I mean, another way we could possibly do it too, if we were looking for them, is look for like animal tracks. Because assuming if they're like other nomads, they might want to stay close to like elk herds. I know we've seen herds of elk out in the wilderness before, and they might be stay close to them as their food source or something.
And if you all have ever met anybody who is like a tracker or some sort of like guide into the wilderness, perhaps you could tap into some NPCs that you haven't killed.
Oh yes, there was that woman in Caer Konig. Her name escapes me. Must be the mead from last night. But I tell ye, shipmates, I think this Black Spire is a task that's clear, and we're in the right neighborhood for it. Maybe we should prioritize that.
Seems closer to where we are now, so I agree. Let's search for the spire.
I mean, yeah, let's stay on track.
So to the spire.
Yes, I believe the white lady said to head towards the glacier if we seek it.
So I think we have Johan is the only survivalist in this group. So Johan, let me get a survival check from you.
Our survival rest on you, Johan.
Now, mind ye, I'm better on the water, but I'll do what I can.
We can 25 and a 27.
Well, we're still near the lake, so it's sort of waterish.
As long as I've got a sea breeze on me, I'll be perfectly fine.
And the 40 degree below zero, 40 knot wind. Breathing.
Man, that would suck. No wind, just straight cold.
So when you look at this map as a group, this is a question for you all. Do you have any thoughts on how you would like to try to find effectively that location that the white lady has marked for you? Like, do you have any thoughts about what you're going to do for landmarks, or are you all just kind of trusting to Johan to try to follow this map as if it were real and find your ways there.
I mean, I guess it might make sense to at least to start maybe kind of hug the lake up, circling around east and then north, and then it seems like from the northern tip of the Lake Dineshire, it's more or less a straight shot east. I don't know, is that or those is that like where the glacier starts, like right kind of next to the lake?
I mean, technically, the glacier is actually quite a ways away from this actual lake, but I can kind of move it to show.
Oh, never mind. I was misreading the map. I was looking at that light blue portion as like land, not the frozen part of the lake. So I thought
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was like
That's part of what I meant before, where it's like, Lake Dineshire is like 40% water and like 60+% ice. Most of Lake Dineshire is frozen over.
yeah, okay. Yeah, so disregard that. I was misreading it. But I still think maybe that might be one option is to kind of keep the lake as our um landmark, kind of follow it kind of around east and then up north and then cut east from there and try
Does
to keep on a more or
anybody
less straight track.
does anybody have a other idea, or do you all like that as a group?
The only other
If you like that
suggestion I would
idea.
have is we're walking, correct?
Yeah.
Then I would say, let's make sure, hey, let's tie ropes to each other while we're traveling, make sure we got our snowshoes on, etc., so we don't get lost or, blown into the lake.
And what were you thinking, Rashawn?
I'm just verifying something real quick.
And I guess we could also see if we go back to see Jathra and to see if we can rehire her for the expedition with like her sled dogs and stuff. Probably be expensive, but that's another option.
When we encountered the Duergar that had kind of the stronghold, or at least the outpost, that was kind of due north of Karakonig, correct? Or was it a little bit east where we're talking about heading?
Yeah, I think that was kind of more or less there. I guess maybe it could have been a little bit. I don't know. It's not really clear in that one, other than it is vaguely like a day's travel north of Karakonig.
Right. So we're not walking right back into that place, but maybe it would be reasonable to expect more Duergar.
I think at this point, you all should definitely wonder why there are Duergar here. For how many people in your group speak Dwarfish, nobody has once asked me what do I actually know about Duergar, but I think you guys should recognize that Duergar don't belong above the earth.
Yeah. I mean, I figured we just figure out more when we go to the Dwarf Valley. I mean, after the guy whose ship it was on, didn't really seem to know too much about it. So, figure best person to go to is probably people that aren't super hostile to us.
Well, we're in reasonable terms with the people of Karakonig as well, so perhaps. Well, if we still want to go to the Black Spire, but perhaps we could come back via Karakonig. And then perhaps the Dwarven Valley.
So
So in
does
terms of,
following.
yeah.
Go ahead, Larry.
Well, I was just going to point out that the other sort of natural route to get towards the Black Spire would seem to be following this river that flows into Lake Dineshire to the east, and we could follow that until we're fairly close to that large mountain that seems to, that might be the point we're looking for. But following the lake and then heading due east is perhaps a better option. So, just pointing out an alternative.
So you all have three different options, I feel like, ahead of you. Head to the east, follow the river until you have a mark to where you're going to head north. Head to the east, follow the lake, and then head east to where you're vaguely pretty sure you're supposed to go. Or head to the west and go through Caer Koenig and pick Jarthra back up and have her assist you.
I guess if we're hoping to possibly run into some nomads, might be following Johan's suggestion to follow the river might be a better idea if that's the kind of thing they would be using as a water source potentially or fish source.
I would vote for the Eastern River route.
What say ye, Iron Spark and Velixis?
I will, Johan. I will trust you. You seem like a much better tracker than myself. So
Yeah, and I feel like the idea of following the river would still be good, and then headed east until we find a right. That way, just in case, you never know what might happen. We'll have a way back.
River it is then.
Gotcha. So going to the east, and then you're going to kind of follow that river to where you expect to turn north.
Yep, exactly. I'm expecting to find a branch in the river, and then I would once we found the branch in the river, I'd be looking north for a large mountain, and once we got our bead on that, I'd head towards that mountain. So I'm putting a lot of faith in the map.
hey, Larry, you know who Wim Hof is?
Nope.
Oh, it's fucking amazing.
Yeah, yeah. That's the. Look him up. That's just kind of on is.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to change my token.
He's just this old grizzled salty man who's like always motivating people to be better, and by doing it in freezing ice cold places.
By gar.
I mean, he set some insane world records. He's got some incredible TED Talks out there. Definitely a very wild man in the things that he does. Like running marathons barefoot in Arctic conditions.
Yeah, I think he did like a half marathon up until the point where it's like I can't run anymore. And that was in like negative 30 below.
So you all can head off into the wilderness. As you leave to the east of Easthaven, at first there is like an actual path out of town, which you all will divert from as you start to head off into the actual like kind of northern, northeastern side of Lake Dineshire. And as you kind of follow this trail around, you all will basically walk for most of this day in pretty good conditions. generally within view of Lake Dineshire. There's certainly times where the actual storm and kind of the snow drifts do pick up and visibility decreases, but by and large, it's one of the more clear days that you'll kind of come across in this area. And passing off through most of the day, you all will eventually come um, to the actual point where Lake Dineshire is off to the west, and you start to follow the river off to the east. And at this point, you're already in a valley. There's points where you can actually see the mountains of the spine of the world off to the east of you, but it's still mostly like hilled country. You are within like a greater valley that kind of shows you like if this river were flowing, you're inside of a pretty large delta that actually like drips into Lake Dineshire. And it's kind of one of those signs that this place erodes over time like any other river. It's still frozen now, though. I don't think there's anything feeding into Lake Dineshire really in the least bit as far as the never-ending winter goes here. Let me have you all roll a d6 for me. So as you start to or continue moving along here and moving a little bit more properly eastward, eventually you all are going to come to the point where the aurora gives way, and as darkness kind of sets in, it's still very much a waxing moon where this is a much more complete darkness, but the moon eventually starts to rise and the conditions kind of deteriorate. But there is a point where you all are going to notice that there is indeed some sort of a camp up ahead of you, about like a quarter of a mile away in this same valley. What are you all thinking?
Well, let's make sure me and Trey are in the front, followed by Johan and Brannick and Alexis, bringing up the rear.
Agreed.
Is there anything we can hear coming from the camp?
From a quarter of a mile away, no. As you're still in like 20 to 40 mile an hour winds.
Slowly
Alright.
approach.
Slow and quiet.
I think my audio cut out again. Can you just what camp did we spot?
It's more or less that you all have spotted a camp. You don't really know anything about what it is yet. But it's about a quarter of a mile off to the east of you all in this pretty much same valley that you all are in this river.
Okay, gotcha. Sorry, don't know why this keeps happening.
Can we see a lit fire?
You can definitely make out signs that they have light.
As we get closer, do we notice any kind of shapes that may let us know what they are or who they are? Or do we not see anybody?
How close are you all getting?
We're not that close.
Then I would say no.
We gotta either move forward to see what's going on, or we just gotta keep on moving away.
Okay, is this one of the times that I could try to stealthily scout and see what's going on up there?
How close do you want to get?
You say it's a quarter of a mile away?
Yep, at present, you all are about a quarter of a mile away.
Well, I think as a group we could probably cut that distance in half safely. Yes. What do you say, fellas?
I agree with that.
That seems
right.
reasonable.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
So the whole group's going to move to what, eighth of a mile?
Yeah.
What is that, like 600 feet?
Anything that we can see or hear coming from the camp now?
Y'all can make perception checks. What is it? Johan and Shimbao or Trey? First two are the ones that count.
Nice.
Let me get one more from Trey. So looking out into this camp, besides the fact that you can see light coming from it, not really picking up any extra information from here.
I'd say stealthily try to advance 50 feet at a time. If no threat is present or information changes, I would wave the other guys up to the current position, 50 feet intervals.
Yeah, that sounds good to Brannick.
Aye.
So roll a stealth check for me. So you can move up about another 50 feet as you're pushing forward. You don't see any signs that anybody has noticed you.
Wave the group up.
They can't see you. You are hiding.
Continue another 50 feet.
Never mind. Johan can actually see you. He's got good enough passive. No, he's got a negative because it's Blizzard. Yeah, so you're just going to leave them behind?
No, I guess go back and bring them up to the current spot.
So with the
Jin-
recognition that you are moving outside of their view, and while you are being successful stealth, they can't see you. What is Jimbao thinking?
Make himself visible so he can talk to the group.
Yeah, I mean, if you go back, you can gather them up. But my point is like, do you have a creative way to solve that problem?
Yeah, I got 50 feet of rope.
Excellent. Good choice. Are you ready to move forward again?
Yes.
Doing the same thing, you're just going to move 50 feet forward.
Yep. Stop and check.
Roll a stealth. So moving forward, you're looking around. Feel like there's no signs that anybody spotted you.
And now we're 500 feet after I gather the rest of the party.
Yep.
Well, we should be able to close the distance together by, say, half, 250. What do you think, guys?
And Brannick's also willing to try to move quietly, if I think that's wiser.
Same.
I don't think we want to startle them is my only fear. Once we have a sense of whether they're human or I mean, if they're humans, they might be the nomads that we're looking for. So no need to assume hostile intent. I'm wondering though if they're Duergar or Knowles or some such. But I guess what I'm getting at is that I don't want to startle people in their camp if they're just going to their business.
Well, maybe we can cast some group beneficial spells and then walk up together. Then maybe being prepared for the worst. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst.
So are we going to keep inching forward, or are we just going to walk on up and say, "Howdy ho, can I join the fire?"
I see Johan's point. We might, if they are whoever camp this is non-hostile, perhaps it would be better to approach openly. But
Okay. Trey's going to stand up and start walking.
Jimbo right beside him.
Where's everybody else at as the first two start to walk away?
yeah, Brannick will follow.
If Alexis follows, but she's keeping the distance behind just in case.
How far?
Yeah.
I would say Brannick wants to make sure he try and keep the two of them within sight within the blizzard. That's probably no more than like 10 or 15 feet behind.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep everybody in sight.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Close enough
Sorry.
to keep in sight, but far enough to where I can still react.
So 5 feet
enough.
behind them, you can see them and you can react. You got to tell me what you want to do. You can react while somebody's sword is in your face. That's not really a distance.
Okay, then about 15 feet, 15, 20 feet behind.
Gotcha. So Trey and Jimbao are leading 15, 20 feet behind. You've got both of your wizards. Where is Johan?
What's the visibility of the blizzard is quite short.
At any given point, yeah, you guys are looking at like 20 to 30 feet of visibility.
All right, then I'm with the wizards.
When we get to be about 60 feet away from the camp, do we start seeing bodies or anything along those lines?
Just hold up a minute.
Yeah, I still think we should approach with caution, Trey.
I,
You guys just stood up and started walking forward.
Yeah, I know, but there's one thing to be walking at a brisk pace, and another to be.
Describe to me what you're doing.
like
Walking,
like I said,
walking normal.
yeah, walking normal in cadence with everyone else. Like everyone else that's traveling in the snow, they're in a blizzard, and walking towards the camp. And when we get within 60 feet, I mean, if I see bodies, I want to start, announcing our presence.
So at about like 150 feet, you all are going to see as a flame kind of rises into the air and kind of waves back and forth once, and then is going to disappear.
Great. There goes our warmth.
Johann looks to either side to see if they're being hemmed in by the walls of the valley.
I mean, there's definitely a wall of the valley that keeps you from escaping to the south. There's a river that keeps you from escaping to the north. It's basically an east or west place that you guys are in. West is
about
where
how
you're coming from.
Okay, and concentrating on that wall to the south of us, like let's just imagine that there were archers in that south wall. What would
You
their
guys would
range
be
be?
dead if there were archers up there right now. If they were
Okay.
hostile, it's like a 40, 60-foot wall. Archers have like 600-foot range. The difference is you guys are in a blizzard. Anything ranged is difficult to do in a blizzard.
And you said this flame went kind of shooting upwards, like into the sky?
Roll a perception for me.
I thought you said it was a flame hand that waved back and forth.
Yeah, so I think Brannick probably could have seen basically light kind of come up into the air, but it was not high into the sky.
Okay. Misunderstood.
And that's perfectly fine. You're walking in a blizzard. There's no reason that you would necessarily know exactly what's happening. Y'all continuing to walk forward?
Yes. Until we see something or someone.
Should we light a torch and try and signal back if perhaps that was some sort of signal?
Yeah, can't hurt. Go ahead and light a torch, and to get closer, start kind of waving, and get a little bit ahead of Jim Bow and everyone else saying, "All right, we're coming in peace. May we share your fire, just travelers."
I mean, I guess even if it's even possible to light a torch in the blizzard, I don't know if we have any lanterns or anything like protected flames.
Johann can cast light on something if someone has a weapon that
Can you
they'll
cast it
keep in
on the
hand.
torch?
There you go. Yeah, exactly.
So the light on the torch definitely works. And you're just kind of waving it in like that similar kind of side to side motion.
Yeah, just kind of that side to side, like, hey, like we are here, making our presence aware, and looking for any bodies and any signs of hostility.
Let me get a perception again, this time from Trey. and then either Jinbao or Johan can join in. And one more from you, Trey.
Whoo-wee. We are doing a great job tonight.
So, Johan, you're going to notice as they continue to walk forward here, at about the point where you get about 60 feet from this camp, the guys ahead of you, Jinbao and Trey, are about 40 feet from the camp. And you're kind of just in line with the wizards right now. You are going to start to notice that you all are indeed walking through an area, and there are bumps in the snow, humps in the snow. And shortly after noticing this, you are going to watch as 6 figures stand up out of the snow directly on top of Jinbao and Trey, and 7 more figures stand up out of the snow, basically surrounding between like the wizards and you and them. So you guys are now encircled by about 13 different people, but they all look humanoid, um, and they're kind of right on top of you.
Well, it's a pleasure to meet y'all. I'm Trey McGee. This is the rest of our wonderful crew. I don't suppose that we can it's called parlay, right? That's how you call it, Johan?
I believe that's the word.
Are you starving in this wilderness? What has brought you into the land, the lion? Sorry, that should have been Tiger.
Is it the tiger tribe we've met?
One of the figures right behind you is going to basically like tap the side of your cold weather gear with their spear. You're in the presence of the tiger tribe. What know you of us?
Well, I know that a while ago ye were led by a Queen Bjornhild. Is that still the case?
And were it so,
And were it so, I have business with her, and I think she'd be most interested in
when
hearing
you say
the
I
type of.
have business with her, the spear is going to go inside of your cold weather gear and right up into your jugular on the left side. What business do you have with Bjorn?
Yes, a female or a male? Could it be Bjornhild?
Is that your answer, or are you asking me?
No. I'm asking you, the DM, whether this could
It
in
is
fact be
indeed a
Bjornhild.
woman. Their response, though, is what business do you have with Bjorn?
All right. Johann squares up and says, "Perhaps you remember 30 years ago that Bjornhild cast a baby into the frozen ice sea. Well, the lad has returned. I am the offspring of Queen Bjornhild Solvig's daughter, and I have come back to me tribe."
Roll a persuasion at advantage. Every single one of them is about to drop their spears. Not like drop them, but basically hilt into the ground. And you'll see the one that is closest to you kind of bow his head, and they all follow suit. Then you are most welcome, sire, into the camp of the Tiger tribe.
Arise, arise, me clan, for this is a day of great rejoicing. And Johan,
Kind of broke up there.
puts his hand and uh, uh, Johan said, arise, arise, friends, arise, my clan, and like puts his hand on the arm of the person who had threatened him, and lifts that person up, um, and yeah, come, friends, to the fire. 'Tis a cold night.
So as you all kind of like have this like pretty stark change of attitudes, um, four of these figures are going to kind of walk back off and kind of just like disappear into the west, basically. Pretty solid to understand that they are going to take up their watch again of that kind of western flank. The other nine or so of these tribesmen are going to basically walk you all continuing forward into the camp ahead of you. And they are going to progress forward and eventually into the camp of Bjornhild, where probably three will remain with you as they walk you into her den. And I think they're going to separate Johan from the rest, but they will take the rest to some of these other campfires and kind of I think, yeah, if we go with the idea they've got a fresh kill, they'll offer food to the others. They ferment a um, pretty horrendous but very strong liquor that, as long as you don't have a nose, it tastes delicious. But what are you all thinking as they basically attempt to separate Johan from you?
Trey will I appreciate the offer, but I'll wait outside of whatever building or room Johan is and the royalty here is, just to keep him safe, as is my duty.
Um, I think the response you are going to get from these different folk are going to effectively be, it's not an option. You can wait outside and enjoy everything else that the others are doing, but standing outside this tent is not an option for you. And they're going to look towards Johan and say, you may not remember the ways of our people, but if you are to see the queen, it will be alone, and none but her most trusted are allowed to be close.
It is true. I was cast away before I learned much of the ways of the tribe. Now tell me this, though. My business with the Queen is mine alone. Are me friends safe with you, by your word, no matter what happens to me?
You are all safe at present.
That's not what I asked. As I said, my business with the Queen is is mine alone. I ask that my friends, my companions, be treated with the courtesy of the Tiger tribe, no matter what happens to me.
And the courtesy of the Tiger tribe is want to eat meat where we find it. At present, they are safe. And they'll kind of look back to the rest of the party here. If you will surrender your weapons, you can have my promise, as he looks back to Johann, that your people will be safe inside the camp of the Tiger tribe.
Braddock is going to looking towards the others, like Jinbao and Trey and Rashad, and kind of quietly trying to say, like, they were on us before we had any idea. Imagine if they wanted to hurt us, they could have. Say we trust in Johan.
Jimbao will hand over his weapons.
Hold your hand now there, Jimbao. Hold your hand. Now, I may not remember our ways, but I do remember that the Tiger tribe is known for honor. So I ask ye plainly now, do ye guarantee the safety of me companions, now and through the night?
I'm not sure what wasn't clear. If they give up their weapons, they've given you that guarantee. I'm not sure what you're...
Yeah, and Johan doesn't accept that level. And if they don't
Yep,
give it,
so they will put spears back to all of your throats.
Jimbao hands over his weapons.
And you're going to hear from within the tent as there is a roar of a tiger.
We can, I'm sure we'll be fine, Johan. Take care of your business, and I'm sure we'll be fine. And as he's saying that, Brannick will kind of, gets with the spirits back up very slowly, reach towards. I mean, he's just carrying a dagger, and he'll try to like hold it out, hilt first, to hand it over, similar to following Jinbao's lead.
Trey will drop his warhammer very disgruntledly.
is the situation that they literally have blades to our throats, or is the situation that they would get a strike or two before we could respond?
Oh, I mean, there's no surprise round here. You guys are in it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're not going to get hits in before you can do anything. If they roll
Right.
higher initiative.
Yeah, sure, but they don't have, I mean, if a person has, they don't have knives to our jugulars still, or they do.
This is not 4th edition where there are auto kills when you put something to somebody's throat like this. Am I going to give them like a different kind of attack while they have you all in this position? Probably. But
Sure.
the fact of the matter is like they are hostile. You have been invited into the camp, and now it seems like Johan is unreasonable.
Well, that's not Johann's perception. Johann's perception is that unilaterally disarming in this camp. Well, I mean, I'm not going to go into.
You had the promise that you were
backstory, right?
that you were given, though. Either accept the promise and go into the tent, or you guys are in a shit situation.
Okay, rather than immediately kill the rest of the party, Johann will advance towards the tent.
So who is dropping every single weapon that they have, and who is trying to hide a weapon on their person?
I'm dropping everything.
Brannick will attempt to. He'll hand over his dagger. He'll probably try and keep his orb or arcane focus hidden. Try not to draw attention to it.
Gotcha. Deception check from you. Everybody else is dropping everything?
Yeah,
With
Trey's going to be a
not a
giant asshat, and he's just going to be like, "Hold on, I got another thing," and then just toss it to someone to catch, and then keep tossing it to over the same guy because it's probably about 25 pounds worth of stuff.
After you throw two things at him, he's going to actually cut you with his spear. So take 1 piercing damage. So as this goes on, as the tiger roars, and it's going to come out of the tent, and you're going to see the saber-toothed tiger that very slowly kind of walks out of the tent and is essentially about twice the size of Johann, and it is looking down at you. And from within the tent, you're going to hear, "Is there trouble brewing? Is it feeding time?"
My friends, they have guaranteed our safety. We would be fools to spurn their hospitality.
Just remember, friends, I took this of me own volition. Johann advances towards the opening of the tent and goes in if, you know, unless there's someone blocking him.
Right now, there's a tiger.
Okay, Johann, desperately trying not to show any fear, strides either right up to the tiger, or if, again, if he can get in the tent by walking past the tiger as if the tiger were a little kitty cat, he'll try to do that.
Make a...
Animal handling?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say charisma, but you could do a charisma with your insight proficiency. So as you walk up to the tiger and kind of walk past it, it's just going to basically turn directly behind you as it kind of like moves its ribs out of the way, and somewhat it is like spinning with you inside of it, almost like a rotating door. So by the time you are walking into this tent, the tiger is going to be facing your back. You're going to see as the 3 guards outside basically hold that point. The others are going to effectively lower their weapons, but they are still standing rather at the ready, and effectively with everybody's weapons just down on the ground, like in the snow. And inside of the tent, you are going to see a somewhat giant of a woman. She's roughly stands about the height of the shoulders of this tiger, about like just under maybe 7 feet tall. Um, but she's going to kind of like look to you from a more or less reclined position with like one leg up on a kind of like stool slash table that has like a roast on top of it, and she's just sitting there with a bone in her hand as she's like essentially eating some fresh kill, and is like holding I think a goblet in the other hand, pretty relaxed as she has her tiger behind you, and she invites you kind of forward, and just with an approach, What is the meaning of this? Where are you coming from?
Well, I'm coming from 30 years back, in the sea of moving ice. Perhaps you remember. He cast a lad into the sea as an offering to the dark gods. And now I've come back to say hello to your mother.
Aro be praised. She's just going to kind of like stand and walk towards you, and taking a few moments to somewhat like kind of manhandling you, like looking over your face, looking over your condition, and just trying to kind of peer into you. Uh, Make a perception check. And you can have advantage, as she is incredibly close to you as well. So, as you're looking over this woman who is like inspecting you, she doesn't look much older than about 30 years old. So, it would appear you seem to have your father's flesh and eyes. Why has Oro been so kind as to preserve you for so long?
I don't claim to know the doings of the gods, but I do know this. My coming here was my own doing, and I ask that my traveling companions be guaranteed their safety. They knew
Yes,
nothing of
yes,
my
you keep
past.
worrying about this guarantee of safety. They are safe for now. There is no guarantee but death. And if Oral asks it, I will oblige you all. The tiger behind you is going to roar.
Well, beyond that, I have not much interest in returning to the tribe, but we're travelers in these lands. We came across a camp. That is how we came here. Easthaven was the last place that we made spent a night.
And what, pray tell, would you ask of your queen? Why have you come into our camp?
Well, we came into camp at the behest of your men. But if it be within reason, perhaps we'd ask to spend the night here, and then be on our way in the morning.
If Aro grants you the pleasure of waking up in the morning, you may sleep here this night.
Johann is trying to see if she's making any, if she seems interested in him beyond sort of the straightforward, yeah, okay, here's this person, not very interesting, or if she is perhaps sort of actively measuring him up for a fight.
You can roll an insight check. Um, she's a cold-hearted killer. she's not really interested in you in really any sense of what you might expect from a mother.
Yeah, I got that.
Overall, you have a pretty good sense that there's nothing good that can come from this. You know enough about Auril these days that you know the purpose of sacrificing somebody to Auril is not so they live. And Auril is not a kind god. She asked for death. She asked for freezing alone, dying alone.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out if I can get away with just getting murdered myself and getting the other people free. So let's just see how this goes. Well, Mother, now that I've paid me respects, perhaps the best thing for me and me traveling companions would be to move on.
Now you intend not to weather the night with the tiger?
Oh, the kitty doesn't bother me at all. I've known many a ship's cat, but I sense that we are not altogether welcome here, and I wouldn't want to be a burden.
I don't believe there's any burden to be had. I was trying to interpret the will of Auril, and wonder if she has not returned you to me, so that I may satisfy her will of my own hand.
Well, perhaps that decision is for you. What does she say?
She's going to kind of nod to the tiger. Rava, you may step outside. And she's going to call beyond you to the tent outside. Orith, bring the weapons of this one who claims to be my child. It's time for us.
Bare hands aren't enough for you then. And Johann curls his fists.
You intend to fight with what Auril has left you?
I intend to fight with what the gods left me, 'tis true.
Orlif, he won't be needing those. And she's going to pick up a great axe from behind her. And I need you to roll initiative. So, what is everybody doing while you are surrounded by her tribe and you hear her call for his weapons?
So I think Brannick was like initially trying to maybe disarm some of the tension by like engaging a couple of the people in conversation, maybe even trying the this weird fermented drink, trying not to, just retch it immediately back up. But he would definitely grow concerned at the call for these weapons, and I think he would he would probably call out to Johann. Johann, what's going on?
So, roll a Constitution saving throw for me, Brennick. as you drink this liquor, it's going to be relatively quick that you understand that among some of the ingredients is most certainly blood, among other things. It's almost like a kind of like meat soup of some sort of fermented vegetable or something else that was the sugar that was fermented. But you definitely get looks of kind of laughter from everybody else who's actually from the tribe and watching you take a sip of this. You're able to stomach it, but it's pretty horrendous.
That's not sitting too well. I was
What's
almost
every-
thinking more like the fermented mare's milk from like was the Mongolians.
Yeah, I feel like it's like something like basically like ayahuasca, where their spit is how they introduce the bacteria that actually ferments the sugars. But this is also still a meat eater tribe where blood is definitely one of their sources of liquid.
Okay, and also I meant to say also that like he would have waited to like he would have wanted to see maybe like presumably some of them were also drinking it. Like he wouldn't be the first one, like among the tribe. I mean,
They are actively drinking it. But yeah, this is definitely one of those things. Growing up drinking it and drinking it are two different things.
yeah.
I feel like meat pudding is actually a good way, or blood pudding is a good way to describe what I kind of have in mind. Is everybody otherwise holding fast outside?
Where are we in comparison to the tiger and the main tent?
At this point, you guys are vaguely outside of that main tent. The tiger is at the gate. There are 3 guards, like right at the entrance of that tent. Effectively 4 with the tiger, and then you guys are currently surrounded by the rest of the tribe.
So like right around that area by like the slaughter. I just like because I'm just if I'm hearing Johan like getting riled up, I'm just gonna go ahead and cast like I mean, does it sound like he's like in trouble?
You are supposed to be reacting right now to her calling for his weapons. What are you doing in response to that?
I am going to say, may I please have his weapon so I can bring him to my boss?
You are not welcome in the tent. You've already heard that. Nobody's going to give you his weapons.
Oh well, I guess you guys break honor and make me prick some blood. I guess y'all are full of just tiger bullshit. Just a bunch of tiger kings in this place.
So I have a feeling what we are going to pick up with next week is an all-out war between the 5 of you and the entire tiger tribe. Is that what we're going for then? Because I think we're going to stop here.
I I don't want war.
Then you need
Sorry
to try
about
to
that,
calm
guys.
down your tray.
Yeah, Trey, this is
You
not.
guys are surrounded by, at very least,
Yeah.
probably 2 to 3 to 1 odds.
Let's use our heads here, okay? If maybe try to call into Johan, be like, "Are you okay in there?"
If he agreed to a duel, 1v1, then I mean, I'm not gonna stop him from a duel. But at the same time, I don't. If they have no intention of killing and it's just a duel, the first one knocked out or whatnot, then he
If
agreed
they're not,
to it, not gonna interfere in it.
if the guards or the people surrounding us are not threatening us immediately, then I'd put my hand on Trey and say, uh, "Let's think about what we're doing here."
What, given our weapon, dropping our weapons and hanging around a bunch of flesh eaters who get drunk off their own blood, who live in the middle of nowhere and trust a cat.
Just because their ways are different than ours doesn't make him bad.
I think as a party, we have to come to a conclusion what the decision is here. Because on some level, yes, Johan has agreed to this battle, and he's about to fight Bjorn. As far as you all outside, you have to come to terms with whether you are going to let that happen or whether you all are about to fight overwhelming odds.
I mean, to Brannick's thinking, right? They could have, when they kind of popped up out of the snow, they could have just murdered them all right there. He doesn't know, Johan had shared with him back at the cabin that he was actually born like among the barbarian clans, but didn't share everything else. So Brannick doesn't really know all the details of what's going on. But he, out of like self-preservation, he's he wants to take a kind of wait and see approach, and kind of Johan's kind of on his own right now. But he'll fight if a fight breaks out.
Yeah, Trey will stay his hand, but is just ready to just jump in the fray at any time.
Patience is a virtue, my friend.
And as far as Brannick knows, was he able to kind of avoid bringing attention to the orb? His arcane focus.
Um,
I think I rolled an 11 on that deception check.
yeah, I think as far as that goes, you would have been disarmed a little bit more thoroughly. Is what I'm saying is that's not good enough as far as I think.
So I don't want to influence the group overly much because I'm inside, but you do remember the last words that Johan said before he went in the tent.
Yeah, this is again one of those points where I think, Johan, you can't say anything about the particular situation, but that doesn't mean that you would not have been able to share things about this at, again, fireside chats. Like those generic conversations about where you said to me, like, you vaguely expected this to happen. I think it's perfectly fine um, for Johan to, when you all were basically leaving Easthaven with this rough idea that if you are going to run into these nomads, there is the chance that you are going to run into your mother, and you know what it might be.
Yeah,
So
and
that's
especially
what
with
I mean. Like, I think you can still talk about this. I think the group needs to make a decision whether they are going to watch you die if you lose, they are going to watch you lose if you lose and she spares you, or whether they are going to join in and you all are going to fight your way out of this. But I think the group needs to make those decisions, because this is one of those things where it could be epic, it could be a TPPK. I don't think Johan necessarily went into it not expecting her to do what she's done.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say that, certainly with Brannick, because he had revealed this secret to Brannick back at the Cave of the Black, and sort of, I think it would be reasonable that his hatred of the Queen and his distrust of her, and the fact that he knew that it had actually been intended to be a sacrifice to Oral, you know, all of that means that he has pretty dark expectations of being reunited with with his mother. And that perhaps and that he wasn't seeking her out actively until he was perhaps a little more experienced.
So don't want to watch him die, but at the same time, like I said before, like I said earlier, if it's a fight he agreed upon, we'd say we let him go through with it. But if we feel the need to jump in, if she doesn't want to spare him, if she wants to try to kill him, I'd say maybe then we could try and jump in to fight our way out. Otherwise, it might be better because if she does decide to spare him, then we can maybe be able to get more information out of this and whatnot, and go about what we need to do, as opposed to what we were to just jump in immediately. With how outnumbered we are, we might end up slaughtered.
Not to mention the fact we're all disarmed.
Right, like I mean, we got
And
two
badly
mages in here
outnumbered.
without their. We got two mages in here without their spell books. I mean,
Well, technically, you don't have your books gone, but your arcane focuses are effectively on the ground.
And don't
In
forget to
general, it's far more that you all have to spend action economy on your first turn to even start to get your weapons back.
plus there's a saber-toothed tiger there, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna put it to you all pretty straightforward here. If you all decide to fight here, CR wise, this is 100% a TPPK. If the dice get really, really interesting, you all might survive with 1 to 3 of you dying permanently. But I don't see a way out of this that you guys don't have multiple deaths. Theoretically speaking, Bjorn is a solid battle for 4 of you. Bjorn is a solid battle for 4 of you.
Yeah.
And Brannick's definitely, he's got a self-preservation streak in him, so I think he would he would be pretty unwilling to jump into a fight unless we saw like no other option.
I do not fear death, but I do not seek it either.
There were so many different roles to even come up with the human encounter, like the random encounter that became the humans, that became reg nomads, that also became the tiger tribe. It's absolutely hilarious that this is the situation you all have arrived in, from my perspective.
oh my god, man.
All of them worked out perfectly, because I was like, my little note on what Johan is the ring hunter, which I feel like was your previous one. I forgot that you had the reg nomad.
Yeah,
The reg tag.
I'm heir to the tribe. All I have to do is beat the 10-foot tall woman who has a battle axe and wasn't willing to throw hands with me.
I mean, me, the player, feels bad about leaving Larry to fight that thing alone, but Brannick, the character, is like, all right, sorry, Johan.
Like, that really sucks. Peace, bitch.
Yeah, but do remember that Johan, I think, repeated